All right, we'll see you here in a minute.
I'll call the adjourned session of October 5th, 2015 back to order. First, I'd like to entertain a motion to admit Mr. Messeri.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the following persons be admitted to the meeting: Darren Klein, Town Council; Robert Burrows, Transcript, with freedom of the floor; Carol Ducrow, Town Clerk Staff, with freedom of the floor; Harold Miller, Custodian, freedom of the floor; Eugene Torek, Information Technology; Wayne Heidecker, School Department; Rob Carbone, NORCAM, with freedom of the floor; Jason Smith, NORCAM, freedom of the floor; Jose Penn, Fox, Architect, Assistant Vice President; John Bernard, Superintendent of Schools; Christine Molly, Principal of the E. Little School; Brian Novelli, Parks Architect; and Dennis Dunnigan, 3 Marlborough Street.
I have the motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous? If I could ask Mr. Messeri to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just a couple of quick housekeeping items. All registered voters should be wearing a purple ribbon. All visitors should be wearing a black ribbon. And I'd also like to acknowledge and thank our student volunteers this evening who will bring the microphone to you. If you have a question, please raise your hand and stand up, and they'll bring the microphone to you, or you may come down to the front. You have to fight the crowds, but you can come down to the front and use that microphone as well. So again, I'd like to thank Cassandra Arsenis and Taylor Tedesco. Thank you very much. Article 11. Do we have a motion? Mr. O'Leary. You sure we did that? Yes, we do have a motion.
It's a long one, too, so I have to put my glasses on. Mr. Moderator, I move that the town of North Reading appropriate the amount of $1,760,000, which is in addition to $40,000 approved on June 25th, 2015, for the purposes of a feasibility study and schematic design for the purpose of paying costs of a roof restoration replacement project at the E. Ethel Little Elementary School, 7 Barbary Road, North Reading, Massachusetts, which proposed repair project would materially extend the useful life of the school and preserve an asset that otherwise is capable of supporting the required educational program, and for which the town has applied for a grant from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, MSBA, said sum to be expended under the direction of the school committee, and to meet said appropriation of the treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen is authorized to borrow said sum on Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, or any other enabling authority. But the town of North Reading acknowledges that the MSBA's grant program is a non-entitlement discretionary program based on need as determined by the MSBA, and any project costs the town of North Reading incurs in excess of any grant approved by and received from the MSBA shall be the sole responsibility of the town of North Reading. Provided further that any grant the town of North Reading may receive from the MSBA for the project shall not exceed the lesser of 46.58% of eligible approved project costs as determined by the MSBA, or 2, the total maximum grant amount determined by the MSBA, and that the amount of borrowing authorized pursuant to this vote shall be reduced by any grant amount set forth in the project funding agreement that may be executed between the town and the MSBA.
We have the motion. Does the Board of Selectmen wish to make a recommendation? Mr. O'Leary.
The Board of Selectmen unanimously recommend.
Does the Finance Committee wish to make a recommendation? Mr. Sorbo.
Finance Committee recommends.
Does the school committee wish to make a recommendation?
The school committee unanimously recommends
Mr. O'Leary.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Just as a point of information, and again, the reason we're here this evening is that we requested our town meeting to give us a little bit of time to look at the detailed proposal put forth by the engineers and architects in relation to this project. So last evening, the school committee, finance committee, board of selectmen, and a representative from the community planning commission met for several hours going over in detail the proposals and the costs associated with it and alternative programs and costs associated with this. Keep in mind, the reason we're here, and the timeline is coming upon us very quickly in order to apply for this grant money. We are going to have, the project isn't going to commence until the summer of next year. So we have several months now to go into further detail in relation to what the proposals, what the current proposal is, and any alternatives that may be available to us. What we are proposing this evening is the maximum amount required under the most expensive proposal that's been put forth. So this is the most expensive it's going to be. In relation to the dollar amount, again, it's at 46+%. It's going to be reimbursed of the $1.76 million. Approximately $800,000 will be reimbursed by the NSBA, so we would have to borrow approximately $925,000. And the motion that is presented tonight, the most that we can borrow would be the $925 or thereabouts $1,000. So it's not the 1.7. We don't need authorization for the entire amount because we have to be able to bond for the entire amount in order to apply for the grant. But it's anticipated that again we would only have to borrow somewhere around $925,000 to replace them. But in front of you tonight is just a quick timeline to date. Again, Christmas Eve, 2014, the MSBA announced statements of interest under the Accelerated Repair Program. In February, North Reading, through the school committee and superintendent of schools, submitted a proposal supported by the board of selectmen and the school committee. In May, MSBA personnel conducted a site visit at the little school. June 3rd, board of directors convened to approve the North Reading statement of interest. June 25th, the Finance Committee approves a reserve fund transfer, which is the $40,000 that you heard referenced in the motion, to do a feasibility study and pick it over as project manager, which was picked again through MSBA. In August, North Reading is notified of the project manager and architectural firm to complete the feasibility study. September 21st and 22nd, the contractors conducted a requisite testing to include core samples at the site and in the roof. And then October, the architect and OPM conducted a review, the feasibility analysis report with town officials. Again, this all has to be concluded by December in order to get everything into MSBA, which is why it's on here, let's get it done. Otherwise, the opportunity passes us by. Keep in mind that we had initially thought that maybe the repairs would only be somewhere around $250,000 to be expended in a year or two from now. But with the extensive feasibility study and analysis report, it was revealed that the roofs, of course, are approaching 25 years of age anyway, which is just beyond the useful life, the life expectancy of the roof, and with the opportunity to have 46% reimbursed from the state in today's dollars, it's worth considering going forward. So what we're asking for tonight is authorization for the full amount. I can assure you, over the next few months, the Board of Selectmen, School Committee, Finance Committee will be combing through the details, looking at alternative plans and proposals. So far, though, based upon the initial reports, it's about 246 pages. What's being proposed is the most expensive program. May very well be the one that we go with. Once again, we'll be looking for approximately $925,000 in bond, and looking to fit it in. If there's any questions, the superintendent of schools will come up. We also have the architect here, representatives from the project manager. But again, we spent about 3 hours last night, 3.5 hours going through all of this. we're very comfortable coming before you and asking for the authorization to go on. It's not, again, it won't be spent unless the board of selectmen determines that it's in our best interest, just authorizing us to do so. So we appreciate your support. It does require a 2/3 vote, and we'll move on from there. So if there's any questions, Mr. Moderator, we're happy to take them.
Please wait for a microphone and come down to the front.
Irene Newell, 427 Park Street. I know that you consider spending our tax dollars very wisely, very carefully, but we do spend an awful lot. Our rates in North Reading are so high compared to others, and not everyone in North Reading has salaries to keep paying for our taxes that keep going up. And in the front of this booklet, there's a great citizens checklist with 8 great questions to consider. The first 3 being very pertinent to this question. Is it necessary? Can we afford it? And what will the ultimate cost be? And I know you've tried to address all of those things. But this is a lot of money. Is this just repairs or is it to replace?
Mr. O'Leary.
The proposal before you is to replace. Again, we have some alternative proposals that we could consider, which would be considered a repair. In dollars and cents wise, it may be less. It might be $600,000 out of pocket as opposed to $900,000. You may get 15-year life out of it as opposed to 25-year life. And when you do the cost analysis, again, we will be doing all of this. Keeping in mind that everybody up here that will be spending hours and hours and hours deliberating over this are also taxpayers and very cognizant of the costs associated with it. So we will be looking at all the alternatives. The current proposal is replacement, but that doesn't mean that repairs are out of the question as far as being considered. So they will be considered, but it appears right now, and I'll be right up front with you, that the most cost-effective way over the long term will be replacement rather than repair. But we will be looking at all the alternatives.
So repairing, we could pay about $600,000. So for another $325,000, we could have a new roof.
The repair is only going to take care of a portion of the roof because it's not a replacement of the entire roof. It's a portion thereof. And for those portions that you're going to repair, you may get 10 to 15 years life out of it. But there will be other sections of the roof that are already reached their life expectancy of 25 years that will be patching along the way in between the other 10 years.
So we could be doing more roofs?
You could be doing more roof. If you're going to repair, you're only doing a portion of it. So therefore, you'll be continuously patching over the next 10 to 15 years, and it'll just be a vicious circle around that. The current proposal will be replacing 2 major sections of the roof, the A and B sections of the roof, and virtually probably 85% of all the roof area on buildings. And you're done for 25 years. So
That's just a follow-up question to this. Do we have any debt service that will be retiring soon that could help?
yes, there's been an ongoing plan that the board has instituted for the last several years where we're looking at bonded indebtedness and things like that. This actually throws it a little bit off kilter because it wasn't in the plan to this extent. But we feel as though between a combination of free cash, debt service falling off, and other sources of revenue that we should be able to resolve.
Thank you.
Mr. McGrath.
Ed McGrath, Laurel Road. Question I have is going forward, I'm in supporting of replacing the roof because I think in the 20-some odd years I've been in town, we keep putting off these major repairs and wind up having to replace whole buildings. So, but the question I have is going forward, is this the roof that design, is there consideration that at some point solar panels be able to put on this roof? Is it going to be, is there a forward thinking if that becomes economically feasible or considered that we don't have to come back and say, well, the roof can't hold solar panels, or we can't do anything like that on this roof.
Mr. O'Leary?
It has not been considered, but I believe the structure of the roof already has some other things on there, so they would be able to, weight-wise, would be able to simply take it. As far as what holds those solar panels are not very heavy, so I don't think that would be feasible. But one important point to understand is that the MSBA is willing to make this investment with the town of North Reading to do this because I believe the useful life of a building can be extended beyond the 25 years. So we don't want to be replacing a roof and then say, oh, by the way, we have to replace the little school. Structurally, the little school is very sound. We've done some repairs and additions to it over the last few years. It's in very good shape. It was Wayne and his crew as far as maintaining the buildings. They come in, that's the first thing they look at to see if this is actually feasible. Is it something that the state wants to invest in? And the answer is yes, because they figure if they invest this way, the life expectancy of the building is extended, and they're not going to be asked to contribute for building a new school for a long time to come. So it's a win-win. A testament to the community as far as making the investment in the structures previously, and so the project is worth undertaking and replacing a roof which is going to be there for at least 25 years to 30 years.
Further questions? Mr. Vino?
I can speak loud enough. I don't need the mic.
No. Mr. Vino, would you come up front?
Oh, all right.
Even though you can speak loud.
Yeah, right. Joe Vino, 11 Rock Street. My only question is, to raise this money, would this be an override vote?
Mr. O'Leary?
Absolutely not.
Further questions? Seeing no further questions, this does require a 2/3 vote as it's a bonding issue. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. I will entertain a motion.
First of all, before I read this motion to close the meeting, I want to thank, first of all, the Board of Selectmen, my fellow board members on the Board of Selectmen, the Finance Committee and School Committee for our short notice meeting last night to properly vet this project. I'd like to thank our town employees for being present this evening, and all members of the public that have come this evening. Thank you. Mr. Moderator, I move to adjourn this meeting seated here.
Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion to adjourn, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Have a great evening.